So let's see. Hopefully, this next thing doesn't comes to reality. So this is an interesting patent from Sony. They seem to be really going crazy with these patents. But so it's a Sony patents robotic gaming companion that reacts to your emotions. I don't know if you've seen this yet. This is from IGN.com. Jordan Ullman writes, Sony has patented an autonomous robotic gaming companion that sympathizes with the user and reacts to their emotions during gameplay. The listing found on the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website depicts the robot as a fuzzy little guy who sits next to you on the sofa while you play games. It has no mouth but a pair of endearing eyes and cute boots, and is said to be able to talk and empathize with the player, as well as move its arm, leg, or neck in reaction to users' emotions. The patent mentions that ideally the robot would be autonomous to the point where it could sit beside you on the sofa of its own accord, rather than being placed next to the user. It's also known that the robot could play games with the player, the example given being the companion controlling the opponent team of a baseball game being played by the user. The patent describes the robot including a feeling deduction unit, an object control system that can detect and act upon the user's emotions. The unit can evaluate feeling indexes such as joy, anger, love, and surprise, and will be complemented by a biological sensor that can track the user's heart rate and sweating state. It doesn't sound too far from another Sony patent for a controller attachment that measures biological responses. So here's the actual image here, Callum. It looks like a McNugget or like a turd next to you with eyes. How do you feel about this idea, just at face value?
I just feel sorry for it, because it is no doubt going to get his head punched in and thrown around the room when, if you're playing like Dark Souls or a sports game. It is going to get abused. But,
and those are good scenarios where someone's not being like creepy with it. Those are even the better scenarios. Like,
yeah,
weird real fast.
Yeah, there are some weird games out there as well that could elicit those kind of reactions. But I don't know. At first I thought it sounded quite fun.
Yeah.
Having like a little robot next to you that will share in some emotions that you're having. And it's always nice, playing a game, and it's hard because whenever I play games with my friends, we're normally all sat in the same room with our own monitors and consoles, like playing next to each other. So, and you don't really get that anymore, where you've got someone sat next to you watching you play a game, or I don't get that.
Right.
Because normally, like I said, when I'm with my friends, they're doing something else, and I'm just playing a game around them, kind of thing. So yeah, it's quite a cool idea, but then as soon as you said about it coming, you don't have to place it there; it will come and walk and sit next to you. That's a bit scary.
It can get creepy, yeah.
And it makes me, I wouldn't want it walking around. I'd like to be in control of it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'd like to decide what it does and where it sits, and I wouldn't want it walking around and doing things. But yeah, it's really weird. It's extremely weird, and but I'm sure it probably has a place. I'm sure there's lots of people who get lonely and play games on their own and everything. So I suppose just as a generic companion idea, it's cool, but I don't want it walking around and climbing up on the sofa and things like that.
That's where it gets interesting, because then it could become your little buddy if it does, like it's charging in the wall, and then as soon as you grab your controller, you're like, hey, come on, little guy, and then he hops over on your seat. I know the patent describes it like being able to look up at you, and like that's why it has the eyes, so it will, whether you're frustrated with the game, it will kind of react, or you do something in the game, there's triumph, it it feels the same way you do, so it reacts to your emotions. The idea of it sounds cool, but it's like hard to not go Black Mirror with it. Like it's obvious, like we're just so close to something weird happening with this kind of thing. But it's a very weird, just technical future that this is born out.
Like I just wouldn't be able to sleep, because I'm like, what if it's like walking around my room, and what if it, like, I don't know, what if I like wake up and it's staring right at me?
Right.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. I don't know. I don't really like the idea of like properly automated robots. I think it's cool if, like I said, if it's like a little like cuddly toy that like has some sort of like sensor inside it or whatever.
Yeah.
And the fact it can play games with you is kind of weird as well.
Well,
but
it might
I suppose
not need to have like a controller. It could just be the controller on the like internally, and so it just syncs up to your PS4 or PS7 whenever this comes out.
But then how's that any different to just playing with AI anyway?
That's true. Well, it's just like a thing that you see. You can look over and see it playing, and so I think there's that loneliness factor. It feels like a companion.
Yeah. I think from that perspective, like just a companion kind of doll or whatever is cool, and it looks pretty. I mean, if that's the kind of design, I think that's quite cool. But But I mean, just looking at it, it's like if it was that design, like it's got really short limbs, so it'd have to like real scramble up on the sofa.
That's what could be cute about it though, because you have to help him, and he's just kind of like, you know, just this weird little ball of fuzz or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. It's very like futuristic tech, so it's hard to like really grasp what my reaction would be. But it's another weird Sony patent, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what they do. I think they just kind of focus on that. But this one is very strange. It almost looks like on that patent too, it's hooked up to an Xbox. Like it's got that same like weird tower shape to it, but. That's just fun.
Oh yeah, maybe that's a glimpse at the PS5,
Yep.
like a weird oblong rectangle thing.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess how much will this be? You know, maybe day one I'll be willing to jump in on this thing, but we'll see how it goes.